Good evening. Virginia here with Jenny Lee Gems. So it is Saturday before the 4th of July, and sounds like World War III going on out there. I live in Tulalip, and there are a lot of fireworks going off. So I thought, since I have to be up all night anyway, I might as well learn something new. So I've never created a twisted basket, and I've watched my teacher working on hers, so I'm just going to go by what I've seen and try to teach you, since I couldn't find any real directions, written directions. So first of all, I am going to use these needles because they're very pliable. I dyed these myself. They're like a mustardy yellow, and I noticed in the baskets there is a tight turn right at the very end. So the way I'm going to start this basket off, and there's a lot of ways, but I think I'm going to try this way because it'll have the caps in there showing, but I think it'll help to just give it some character. And I'm using my favorite color of thread, which is raspberry sherbet. It's very hard to get in this color anymore, but I did find a few rolls and I really hang on to it. So I'm using my favorite color for this little project. So the way I'm going to start out, I'm going to get about a 2-inch tail. And because I don't want a knot, I'm just going to bury that thread in these pine needles and work it up to the top. So we're going to go ahead and coil right over the top of that and just bury those. So I'm going to leave a little bit of this tail, but I'm just going to add 2 go-arounds. And then I will take my needle underneath and come back up at the beginning. So this will be a little thick, but that's just going to secure it down. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and wrap right over that. And it will be a little thick, but that's fine. And I'm just going to start my wrap. So every so often, to make sure it's very tight and secure, I'm going to push it up with my thumb or whatever way you feel comfortable doing that. And then I'm going to go through again about every 10 stitches. Because this is the start of the basket, I just want it to be very snug. So see, I still have that tail in there, and I'm going to wrap right over it. I'm not adding any needles at this point, any pine needles. Just going to wrap, keep wrapping right over, just like you do a regular wrap. Okay, then I'm going to go through again and just really make sure this is solid. So my idea is to do a lot of different colors, like a rainbow, twisted sister rainbow basket. I don't know, just make it as wild as possible. So you see how solid that is there? And I will just, so part of the caps are coming off. I'm going to go ahead and keep wrapping. And I will keep adding needles at this point, and I'll be careful not to knock that tail loose. But I will leave these caps showing. I'm going to wrap back around it, and it's just going to give it a little more color. So I'm going to go ahead and start adding needles. And when I get down about, I think I'm going to go about 8 inches, and we'll see how this works. I'm not positive it's going to work, but this is what it looks like we're supposed to be doing. So, my nails are kind of messed up because I was working on these clay bottoms. I haven't done any clay bottoms, but I have all the stuff. So I thought I would start messing with some colors. I put some sparkles in there, use some little presses on them. They're baked already. They're pretty solid. Here's another one. And then this, I think, is my favorite. I like how when it baked, the red got darker. it's two colors of red, but I think because I used some transparent clay in there, it gave it a little bit lighter. But I love how that one came out, and I used a little diamond press on that. So see, I did the floral on the back, but I didn't like that. I like this side much better. And I'm thinking I could use a diamond stitch with a basket with that. What do you think? So anyway, that was just another little, when I get better at it or I feel more comfortable, I'll do a video on them. Okay, thanks for watching. I'll come back to you when I get down about 8 inches here. Okay, so I made it up about 7 inches. It just looked like it was getting a little too long. So as I mentioned earlier, these are glycerin pine needles, and they're very pliable. They're very bendable, but I also dampen them, and I kind of train them to go around this corner, and I'm just praying they don't break because it's such a tight twist. So we want these to come directly next to the first 7 inches. So bend them over carefully. carefully. And just go right over with your stitch. You could do the figure 8 here. I tried it and it didn't seem to get as close. So I'm just going to go right over with the stitch. So then I will try not to poke myself. I need a few more fingers. And I will do about 5 wraps and then another stitch. Now this is going to be hard. You're going to have to keep snugging it up because you really want this to get in tight. The baskets that I've seen, it was pretty snug in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and then I'm going to go all the way across again. Sorry, I keep moving my needles around. Okay. So I'm just going straight across, and it kind of, since it's wax thread, it'll kind of embed down in the other thread on the other side. So now this looks like it's 2 different colors of thread, but it's not. So I will create 5 wraps and just continue with this same pattern, trying to hold on to it because I'm losing my thread now too. 4. I'm just trying to snug all this up because we want everything covered. Even though we're going to go back over this, I like to have it as tight as possible. So we maybe have enough to do 1 more. Well, yeah, I can do 1 more. Okay, so now you would go all the way over, come back and go down right here, but we're gonna have to change our thread. So I am going to create 5 wraps down and over, 5 wraps down and over, so I maintain this pattern. So you could do a figure 8 here. I think it's called the Navajo stitch or figure 8, where you go down, up and around. But it didn't, I tried it and it didn't hold real snug on this end, and I really want it to be snug. So I'll go ahead and change my thread, go across, and I'll show you a little bit further as we get further down. This is just really tight, close work because it's going to be the center of your basket, and you really want it to hold very, very well. Okay, I hope that makes sense. I'll show you a few more stitches when I get the thread changed. Okay, I changed the thread and I've completed a few more stitches. So what I have been doing is 5 wraps and then I go all the way across and encompass the other row, the first row, and then come back up and around and go down through the center of the stitches. So that secures it. And I've been pulling it snug. It seems to be working. It's already twisting. I'm not certain. It looks to me like the few baskets that I've seen that were done, they were going through the needles here. And then I've seen one where they've gone over the top. So I'm choosing to go over the top. I'm learning right along with you here, guys. If this doesn't work out right, I'm just not even going to make this video. But it's too late for me to call my teacher because maybe she's sleeping, even though fireworks are going off. And I don't want to bug her to see how she did it, but I'm just kind of guessing from what I've seen. So over, there were 5 wraps, up and over to encompass both rows. Go back down through the middle, snug it tight. I have to move it up and over because there is a broken needle and it's stair-stepping it. So then, again, I will do 5 wraps. Look, see how it's twisting already? And my coil is already big enough to put a straw on. 1, 2, 3, 4, this is 5. Now this thread almost looks variegated. I don't know what's going on with it, but I don't care. I like the color, even if it is variegated. So we shall see what happens next. So again, I'm back to wrapping. 1, 2, 3, 4. Try not to poke yourself. 5. Kind of just using all my fingers here. Is that 5? That was 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yes. So 6 I am going over. And this thread, when you do this stitch, it's so waxy, it starts like embedding itself. Now, one thing I want to mention, when you go through, make sure to get your needle on the other side of that long stitch there. That's not quite tight enough for my taste. So I'm really going to snug it up because I'm trying to make this basket strong on the bottom. See how it's already turning? Wow, that's funny. So this is just it, just 5 short stitches or 5 wraps. Keep your fingers out of the way. And then do your long stitch, excuse me. I'm about ready. I think I'm gonna need a drink to deal with this noise here tonight. 5, and then a long stitch all the way around, encompass both rows, and go down through the middle. And make sure it's snugged up and it's looking good. This one needs to be a little tighter. It's looking pretty clean. Maybe the color just lightened up here because I was messing with it so much. So I'm going to keep working on this and see how it's already starting to turn. So I'll keep adding needles. I'm having to add needles with my left hand, and that's not very easy for me. But adding needles with my left hand, pushing them up in there, in the center. Oh, fireworks stopped for a minute. See, I can't do that. Sometimes it goes right in, sometimes it doesn't. And then put it right here in my little straw. So that's what it's looking like. And it is turning. I don't know if you could see how that's turning. It's certainly not flat. So it will be twisting, I think. Okay, I'll keep working on this, try to get a bit done, and then I'll show you again how we're going to turn this corner. It's going to be another one. Now, as it gets bigger, it's going to be less of a turn, so it'll be a lot easier at that point. So I'll continue with my same pattern, 5 wraps or 5 short stitches, 1 long stitch. And when I get to the end here, I'll come back. And I think I'm going to go fix myself a glass of wine right now. Thanks for watching.